Oh hi, I didn't see you drop in. Hello, I'm Harrison from The Gatherers. Wizards of the Coast is giving me the privilege of sharing 3 preview cards from the new set Wilds of Eldraine. A world based on Arthurian legend and classic fairy tales. The first Eldraine set was a real who's who of fairy tales, but they left the best one out. Fortunately, in Wilds of Eldraine, they make everything right in the world again. They righted their wrongs and gave us Steve the Faerie. You've never heard of Steve the Faerie? He's the biggest fairy tale ever. Where do you think the name fairy tale comes from? This genre would be nothing without Steve and his antics. You know, maybe I'll just read you Steve the Faerie. There once was a fairy named Steve, trapped in a cage he couldn't leave. He longed for days of yore, but was trapped in a store. His freedom he would not receive. This store was owned by a creep. Many fairies he'd trap and he'd keep. He'd squeeze them for dust, then leave them to rust, until he was cursed to sleep. Left over from when Phyrexia tried to invade, now Steve was locked in the shade. He heard a loud knock. It came from his lock. He was saved by an unlikely aid. That unlikely aid was Picklock Prankster, a 2-mana 1/3 fairy rogue. It has flying, vigilance, and the adventure Free the Fae. Mill 4, then put an instant sorcery or fairy from that build selection into your hand. Thanks again, Wizards of the Coast, for the free preview card. Check back tomorrow to see what Steve the Faerie is up to next time, and my next preview card. Thanks for watching, and as we say around these parts, don't forget to bolt your birds.